Nevaeh, will you marry me? I was in a restaurant with my daughter, Sophia, when this happened right in front of us. My husband, Kai, was proposing to his mistress. The surrounding customers started to murmur and focus on them. I've been waiting. Yes, I will. The woman called Nevaeh looked happily in response to Kai's words. The crowd cheered with excitement, wow! And even gave them a standing ovation, a rare scene for many. Enveloping Nevaeh in happiness while I was filled with indignation and pain. Mom, let's go. That's when Sophia stood up. Eh? Aren't you furious letting those two celebrate like this? Indeed, the restaurant was in a happy mood. The two of them were waving to the cheering customers around them. Despite my anguish, they were smiling happily, which was, of course, unforgivable. Encouraged by Sophia's words, I stood up and went over to congratulate them directly. Congratulations on your marriage. My name is Kinsley Smith. I'm a 57-year-old housewife. Currently, I live with my husband, Kai, who works as the president of a company inherited from his parents. Kai and I met through an arranged marriage between the son of a business associate of my father's and me. Our family's company, now run by my brother, still maintains a good relationship with Kai's company. Though ours was more of a marriage of convenience and we weren't particularly close, Kai and I managed to get along as husband and wife. We were blessed with our daughter, Sophia, who recently got married herself. From the outside, my life might seem perfectly smooth. But we faced a significant issue. We were not blessed with a son. Kai had always wanted to pass the company on to a son. Of course, I understood his feelings. However, it seemed that was all he could think about. Even when I got pregnant, his first reaction was, "It's a boy, right?" Naturally, it was too early to know the baby's gender. Regardless of how premature I thought his reaction was, he began gathering baby boy clothes and shoes, just because they were on sale. Eventually, we found out the baby was a girl. While I felt slightly gloomy thinking about Kai's reaction, I returned home from the obstetrician and told him the news. Eh? A girl? Kai was visibly disappointed. Even though I expected such a reaction, it still shocked me to hear it. Nonetheless, I tried to console him while caressing my belly. I understand you wanted a boy, but I'm sure a girl will be just as adorable. Please, don't be too pessimistic. Right. Kai seemed to reconsider at my words, but his next statement left me speechless. Well, there's always next time. No worries. Kai brushed off my words with a laugh. The talk of next time and no worries before our child was even born was unbelievable to me. Realizing that our unborn child was not desired by Kai, the word divorce flashed through my mind. However, getting a divorce would inevitably cause problems related to our home and the company. For tonight, I decided to pretend I hadn't heard Kai's remarks and endure it, as I was about to give birth. Then Sophia was born. I had hoped Kai might change a bit once she was born, but he showed no interest in Sophia and didn't even think of a name. I was the one who named her Sophia. Despite his lack of interest in our child, Kai started talking about wanting a second child soon after Sophia was born. While I was physically and emotionally exhausted, I tried to meet Kai's demands, but we were never blessed with a second child. Fortunately, my mother-in-law, who had gone through similar experiences, sympathized with me, which was a relief. However, Kai would sigh and start insulting me every time I got my period. When are you going to get pregnant? I could only remain silent. Kai, who had a good public image, was praised by the neighbors as a wonderful husband. I forced a smile and coped with it daily, but my heart gradually broke. After I fell ill, Kai seemed to realize the severity and reduced his thoughtless comments. My mother-in-law also advised him to cherish me more, and we managed to regain some peaceful days. After that, we were like any other ordinary family. Sophia attended a private school from junior high and continued on to university through an escalator system, eventually working for a general company. A few years into her job, she decided to marry a university classmate. His name is Samuel McKinnon. a young man of Sophia's age. He studied business administration at university and even has experience starting his own company. Now he works for a major bank, handling corporate clients. Though he's the same age, he's someone I truly respect. Sophia told me about Samuel, but Kai's reaction was cold. Experience starting up? So, he started a company but didn't manage it himself? Did it fail? He sold it. Even if that were the case, you don't have to say it like that. He couldn't handle it himself. That's what happens when you play at being a CEO on a whim. It's understandable to reject a boyfriend out of love for your daughter, but Kai, who was otherwise neglectful, only chose to interfere with her marriage. I sided with Sophia and confronted Kai. Having the experience of starting and selling a company is impressive in itself. You've never had such an experience. Not everything should start with negativity. Then Kai turned red and yelled at me. Huh? A woman who's been living off me dares to talk back. Sophia and I were taken aback. Kai had always been harsh, but becoming a housewife was his idea. Maintaining a company, let alone selling one, is much harder. You two don't understand. Kai continued to berate us unilaterally. While I don't think all his words were wrong, I didn't think it warranted such anger. But, you know. Sophia muttered softly. I realized what she was about to say. A taboo for Kai. But she couldn't stand her boyfriend being mocked. Dad, you're not managing anything, are you? I tried to stop her, but Sophia didn't hold back. Those words made Kai even angrier. Probably because it hit too close to home. Indeed, as Sophia said, Kai is a president but not involved in management. Initially, he was involved, but after failing, he now relies entirely on an external management consultant. Kai seems to be complexed about it, but he had no choice since he couldn't let the company go under. I think he could be trusted with our company. He has a variety of experiences and is currently overseeing various companies. Sophia said, unaware of Kai's situation. While we weren't blessed with a son, it's common to hear about sons-in-law taking over the family business. It would depend on Samuel's willingness, but I don't think it would be a bad idea for Kai either. Contrary to my contemplation, Kai erupted in anger. Why would I hand over the company to an outsider? An outsider? He's going to be my husband. Family, right? Both of you, enough. I intervened to stop them. If only you had given birth to a son, none of this would have been a problem. That's awful. Think about Mom's feelings. Kai was furious. I was hurt by the same accusation even after years, and Sophia was defending me. The argument between Kai and Sophia was relentless, and Kai decided not to involve himself in Sophia's marriage. Though Kai attended the wedding and was all smiles, utilizing his usual facade, he started to badmouth Sophia and Samuel behind their backs. The in-laws were thoroughly fed up with Kai. I'd be relieved if Samuel could take over, but what is Kai thinking? After all, the company originally belonged to my mother-in-law's father. Since my father-in-law took over as a son-in-law, they were all for Samuel taking over. While Samuel was willing to give it a try if Kai agreed, the successor issue remained unresolved as time passed. The newlywed couple set up their new home in a nearby apartment and began their new life, frequently visiting us. Although it's just Kai and me living together now, I'm having so much fun every day that I hardly have time to feel lonely. About 2 years passed, and the tension between Kai and Sophia seemed to ease a bit, as they gradually started talking again. However, the succession issue remained unresolved. Perhaps because of that, Kai became even more immersed in his work, coming home late. On the other hand, Samuel has been promoted rapidly at work and has recently become the youngest to hold a position. He seems capable and responsible. In terms of personality, he is indeed someone I would trust to take over the company. Everyone but Kai thought Samuel should be the company's next leader when one day. Actually, I saw Kai walking with a woman I don't know. She didn't seem like someone from the company, but they looked close. My mother-in-law confided in me.
No way. Kai seems so busy with work. I don't think he has time for that.
I hope that's the case. My mother-in-law, always on my side, wouldn't lie without reason.
I'll ask him just to be sure. Thank you for telling me.
I assured my mother-in-law. If asked whether I suspected anything, I couldn't say there was absolutely no clue. There's no way to prove he's really at work, and being the president, he could avoid going to the office under the pretext of business trips. Since we have a consultant, management isn't an issue. Unable to stand it any longer, I consulted Sophia.
Got it. I'll look into it.
And so, Sophia and I began investigating Kai's possible affair. Frankly, the investigation was straightforward. If I went to the company at the time Kai was supposed to finish work, claiming to work overtime, Kai was actually the first to leave the company and head somewhere else.
Nevaeh. Kai.
Then, he met up with a woman and disappeared into the night. It was a shock, but I had Sophia and my mother-in-law. Especially my mother-in-law, who seemed even more shocked than me, cried and apologized. She scolded Kai and told him to stop the affair, but it was still too early for any decisions. Sophia and I began gathering evidence, planning to confront him with undeniable proof.
What is this about?
I slammed the evidence in front of Kai. Kai looked flustered for a moment but then lied blatantly, she's a client. We just used this hotel for a meeting. Even with all the evidence, I wondered how he thought he could escape. Are you bored? By making me out to be a cheater based on your assumptions, you're damaging the company's reputation. Do you want to ruin the company? He exploded in anger. Honestly, I didn't trust him. Even if she was indeed a client, it was clear there was more to their relationship. But knowing I suspected him, I hoped he wouldn't do anything foolish anymore.
If you ever betray me like this, I won't forgive you. I told you, she's a client. You better not make any false accusations if I'm innocent.
If he's that confident, things should be fine from now on. We decided to consider the issue resolved for the time being. Months later, Kai mentioned he would stay at a hotel after a business dinner. With Samuel on a business trip, Sophia and I planned to dine out. It was near my birthday, and Sophia had reserved a restaurant at a nice hotel.
I would have preferred the actual day, but Dad will celebrate with you, right?
I wonder. It's been years since he celebrated anything for me. As we chatted, Sophia suddenly froze, staring intently at one point.
What's wrong?
Curious, I followed Sophia's gaze and was lost for words. There was Kai, who had said he had a business dinner, sitting across from a middle-aged woman. That woman, Nevaeh, was the same one I saw with Kai during our investigation. Clearly dressed up, their atmosphere wasn't businesslike but clearly a date. Sophia and I were speechless. Then, Nevaeh stood up, heading to the restroom.
I'll be right back.
I told Sophia, who looked worried, and followed Nevaeh. I didn't intend to confront her. I just wanted to know what kind of person she was. Inside the restroom, Nevaeh was on the phone.
Did Leo eat? That's good. I'm really grateful you're looking after him, Mom. I'll be back tomorrow, take care.
I was taken aback by her words. It seemed she had left a child named Leo with her mother. After her call ended, I approached her.
Are you on a date?
Nevaeh was taken aback by my sudden approach. Understandable. But I continued.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I was just dining with my daughter, and we noticed what a lovely couple you are.
Nevaeh seemed to relax a bit and smiled.
Really? That's so nice to hear. You both look wonderful together, and your son? He must be home alone tonight. It's important to have some time for just the two of you.
Nevaeh seemed completely disarmed by my words.
Actually, we're not married yet. We're facing some problems right now. Problems?
Well, he has a wife. A hopeless woman, really. He wants to leave her and marry me.
He's very fond of my son too, and wishes she would just disappear.
Nevaeh's tone was almost mocking. Despite initiating the conversation, I felt a surge of anger at her words. Knowing that Kai was married and still insisting on marriage, this woman, and Kai, who neglected his own daughter and dotes on others, infuriate me beyond words. Still, I managed to keep my irritation hidden.
Is that so? Oh, I didn't mean to hold you up. Please, enjoy your evening.
Thank you. With that, I quickly exited the restroom. Back at our table, my frustration was evident, and Sophia became concerned.
What happened?
That fool intends to marry her.
And it seems she's aware Kai is already married.
What? Sophia was visibly angered by this revelation. As we glared at Kai, Nevaeh returned to their table. The two of them resumed their meal, laughing together. Our own meals arrived, but the anger made it hard to eat. Just as dessert was served, a commotion arose from Kai and Nevaeh's table.
Eh? What?
Looking over, we saw a large bouquet being delivered to their table.
Nevaeh, will you marry me?
Kai stood up, presenting the bouquet to Nevaeh, beginning his proposal. The surrounding patrons began to murmur, their attention drawn to the scene.
I've been waiting. Yes, I will.
Nevaeh accepted, bowing happily. The crowd erupted into cheers, some even standing to applaud. Perhaps because it's rare to witness such a scene, everyone gave a standing ovation, clapping their hands. Amidst the jubilant noise, Nevaeh beamed with happiness, but I was filled with indescribable pain and bitterness.
Mom, let's go.
That's when Sophia stood up.
Eh? Are we just going to let those two be celebrated like this?
The restaurant was indeed enveloped in a joyful atmosphere. The couple smiled gratefully at the well-wishing patrons. Despite my turmoil, seeing them so blissfully unaware was unbearable. Propelled by Sophia's words, I found myself standing up to confront the situation.
Congratulations!
Sophia shouted with a big voice, pulling my hand. Through the crowd, I saw Kai react to her words happily. It's astonishing that he couldn't recognize his own daughter's voice. Nonetheless, Sophia and I remained standing, clapping our hands. We made our way through the crowd towards Kai.
Congratulations on your marriage. Congratulations.
We sandwiched him from both sides and voiced our greetings. Close enough to recognize us, Kai looked shocked to see us by his side.
Ah. You from before?
Nevaeh, seeing my face, casually smiled.
Congratulations. How wonderful for you. Yes.
Holding a large bouquet and peeking out from behind it, Nevaeh responded energetically to my words, looking blissful. In contrast, Kai turned pale and began to tremble. Noticing Kai's state, Nevaeh looked puzzled and put down the bouquet.
Kai? What's wrong? Yeah.
Kai, startled by Nevaeh's question, replied briefly and forced a smile. Up close, it was evident he was sweating profusely, clearly panicking. At that moment, I thought to myself, it's time to plunge him into hell.
So, when are you divorcing my mom?
Sophia clung to Kai's arm, making sure he couldn't escape, and dropped the bombshell.
Eh?
Even Nevaeh stiffened at that comment, looking bewildered at both Sophia and Kai.
Eh? Divorce?
The surrounding patrons reacted to the word divorce, starting to murmur among themselves. Nevaeh's complexion drastically changed, her previously happy expression disappearing.
Well, yes. You can't marry unless you divorce me first.
My words, loud enough for the surrounding customers to hear, turned the atmosphere on its head. Nevaeh finally realized who I was.
You knew who I was and approached me?
Trembling, Nevaeh confronted me. Her face contorted in anger. It was a classic case of the pot calling the kettle black.
Yes, thanks to you, we learned not only that Kai was seeing someone while married but also that you were aware of his marital status and still engaged in a relationship with him. To me, that makes you an offender.
Offender?
That's such an exaggeration.
Nevaeh began to falter at my words, but Kai, still held by Sophia, couldn't flee and didn't attempt to defend Nevaeh. Taking advantage of the situation, I pressed on.
An offender, right? You knew Kai was married, didn't you? Both of you can look forward to a lawsuit for damages. Damages?
Nevaeh echoed my words and fell silent.
Of course.
The celebratory mood of the restaurant had completely shifted. It seemed the spectacle had garnered more attention than the earlier celebration, with some even starting to film.
Wow, a real drama unfolding.
Crazy.
He proposed without being divorced?
Proposing amidst an affair, what was he thinking? Whispered jeers about the two began to fill the air, gradually painting their faces red with embarrassment as they hung their heads in shame. Perhaps they finally realized the disgrace of their actions.
That's enough, isn't it, Kai?
I addressed Kai. Devoid of his usual bravado, he looked up at me hesitantly, almost pleadingly.
Be prepared.
I gave Kai a seraphic smile, a prelude to dropping him into hell. What do you mean? Hearing my words, Kai slumped down, as if drained of all strength. Sophia released Kai's hand as he reached out to her, saying, "Sophia.
Don't touch me."
Sophia slapped his hand away. Abandoned by everyone, the two were left exposed to curious onlookers. Leaving the restaurant, Sophia and I left them behind. That night, Sophia decided to stay over at our house, unwilling to leave me alone. I was grateful she came, especially since Kai, who wasn't supposed to return, came home.
What are you doing here? Came back for something you forgot? Nevaeh is waiting for you, isn't she?
No, that's... Kai stuttered, struggling to find the right words. As the conversation faltered, I added more. Or did you bring a divorce paper by any chance? At my words, Kai twitched and muttered a quiet sorry. Sorry wasn't nearly enough to cover the situation. I smirked slightly and waited for Kai's response. Under the piercing gaze of both Sophia and me, Kai seemed to realize he couldn't evade the truth any longer. Suddenly, he apologized.
Kinsley, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have shown you that side of me.
That side?
Not really. In fact, I feel rather liberated. It was just a moment of folly. Please forgive me. I don't want a divorce.
I was astounded by his declaration. Don't want a divorce? It made no sense. But Sophia began to laugh beside me, a question mark hovering over my head.
Did you get a call about the contract being terminated from Uncle? Seems like he forgot that the company's been thriving thanks to Mom's family business. No, it's not like that,
At Sophia's words, Kai began to panic conspicuously, desperately trying to come up with an excuse, but it was too late for any of that.
I see, so that's how it is.
Finally, I understood why Kai was refusing divorce. It appeared Sophia had contacted my family about the situation. My brother, who is now the president of our family's company, has a significant contract with Kai's company, which is currently stable. The company's success wasn't solely due to the business consultant's efforts. After all, a company needs to make money to survive. Kai's company could generate revenue largely because of the significant contract with my family's business. Now, my family's company has become indispensable for keeping Kai's company afloat. However, truth be told, there isn't much benefit for my family's company in maintaining this contract with Kai's. It's more trouble than it's worth, and my brother has been wanting to renegotiate it.
Job's just getting tougher, but can't help it since my sis is involved.
My brother always said, and Kai was aware of this.
Come on, it's all about connections between families. Don't be like that, I'm counting on your continued support.
Kai would say, pouring drinks for my brother at the Christmas party. Perhaps Kai took my brother's complaints as jokes. If he understood the situation, he would have known those weren't jokes at all, making him quite the clueless CEO.
Connections between families can be severed. A contract is just a contract, right? I'm going through with the divorce no matter what. And you have to marry Nevaeh. You promised her, right?
I pressed Kai for an answer.
No, really, I'm so sorry.
Kai admitted all his faults, apologizing again.
But I really want you to forgive me this time. Please, I'll do anything. I told you I won't forgive you. Which part of no did you not understand?
I cut him off sharply. Kai then just curled up, not moving anymore. Well, he was actually trembling slightly. Probably crying. While we were watching him, a sharp ring from a smartphone broke the silence. Kai looked up. As I quickly answered the call on speakerphone. Sis? Sophia told me what happened. Rough, huh? It was my brother, the very person we were just talking about. Kai held his breath. I don't know what they discussed, but Kai must feel terribly embarrassed to come begging for reconciliation after being exposed.
Yeah. But I've decided on the divorce, and it's no big deal.
I acted tough, boasting a victorious smile.
Really?
Sorry for causing you trouble. Not at all.
I'm actually relieved to cut ties with Kai. He's been acting all high and mighty without doing much, and it was bothering our employees.
His words made me glare at Kai. He was supposed to have a good public image. But to act so arrogantly towards my family's employees was unthinkable. Perhaps sensing what I meant, Kai looked away from me.
Well, we're still continuing the contract for this fiscal year. But if Kai causes you any more trouble, just let me know. I'll terminate the contract right away. Then, it'll be the beginning of his countdown to bankruptcy.
Hearing that, Kai seemed to finally worry about his own fate. With teary eyes.
How reliable. I'll count on you then.
I hung up the phone, watching Kai break down into tears immediately after. The call ended, and Kai was left crying, a pitiful sight indeed.
I'm truly sorry. I've apologized so much, please give me a break. Huh? Did you even listen to our earlier conversation? If you cause me any more trouble, I can get my brother involved, you know?
I said to Kai. Kai, wiping away his tears in frustration, became subdued.
No, it's nothing. I'm truly sorry.
He murmured tearfully and apologized again, remaining motionless.
Then get out of here already.
I didn't want to see Kai's face anymore. However, contrary to my urge to kick him out, Kai showed no signs of leaving. Even with Sophia's urging, he wouldn't budge or say anything. His behavior was unnervingly odd. Should I call the police? Sophia suggested. Nodding in agreement, I immediately dialed 911. Kai continued to sit there until the police arrived, and only then, after being persuaded by them, did he finally move.
It's all your fault, isn't it? You shouldn't trouble your wife and daughter anymore.
The police said while patting Kai on the shoulder. Eventually leading him outside.
I hope he reflects on this. It would be nice if he understood a bit of your feelings, Mom.
Sophia commented, looking exasperated as we watched Kai being taken away. It was a humiliating moment to be looked after by the police. But maybe this will make him realize his own pathetic state. We shared a laugh, glancing at each other with the diminished figure of Kai in the background. With Sophia's help, the divorce preparations were going smoothly.
Knowing I'm a single mother and still demanding alimony, that's monstrous. Inhumane.
Nevaeh claimed through her lawyer.
Well, you knew he was married and still got involved, that makes you a monster too.
You knew you'd have to pay alimony, didn't you? I refused to waive or reduce Nevaeh's alimony. There was no reason for me to be considerate after she told me she wished I would disappear in the restaurant's restroom. Knowing her character, there was no way I'd be inclined to consider her. Kai grumbled until the end but agreed to pay the alimony and proceed with the divorce.
You've hurt Kinsley enough, haven't you? You shouldn't bind her anymore.
My mother-in-law said, siding with me. My in-laws sincerely apologized for Kai's actions. Despite everything, I loved them. I wasn't about to blame them. I was grateful for their support. It seemed like Kai planned to leave Nevaeh, but he ended up remarrying her because she wouldn't let him go. I bought a house in the same apartment complex where my daughter and her husband lived, starting a new life. Just when I thought things had settled, Kai found my house and showed up.
Help me! Nevaeh's saying she wants her son to take over the company.
Kai pleaded right off the bat for my help. But coming all the way to my house just to tell me such family issues was irrelevant to me.
Who cares? Do as you please.
I responded coldly. Then Kai said,
Letting someone else take over is unthinkable, isn't it?
This was a line Kai often repeated. However, now that he was married to Nevaeh, her son would be his son too. Nevaeh had said Kai was fond of her son. There shouldn't be any issues. Just as I was about to say this, Kai proposed something unbelievable.
That's it. Let's have Samuel, Sophia's husband, take over. Then, that child will be my grandson, and there's a blood connection.
I was so shocked by his words that I was speechless. I was frankly appalled by Kai's remarks that made me question his humanity.
After insisting Samuel couldn't take over, which mouth of his was saying this now?
I couldn't help but yell out.
Nevaeh's son is not your son. Well, your dream of wanting a son has come true.
Nevaeh's son may be Kai's son in a way, but blood ties are something you can't change. Essentially, it means he'll always be letting an outsider take over. If the company even lasts that long.
That's...
Kai seemed desperate. I felt a bit sorry for my in-laws, but it was their only son, Kai, who had caused this mess. There wasn't much I could do.
At least try to love him as your real son.
I advised Kai on what he could still do. Kai made a sour face at this.
He's already grown up. He'll graduate high school next year.
I was taken aback, having assumed from Kai's earlier words that Nevaeh's son was a young child, but in reality, he was about to turn 18. Moreover, he attends a school known for its low academic performance and poor discipline, and his grades are bad too. It seemed Nevaeh's real plan was to have her son enter Kai's company and eventually become the CEO because there's no prospect of further education or employment. Kai was utterly deceived by Nevaeh into marriage. Bit by bit, Kai shared this story. Learning this, I wanted to burst into laughter at Kai's predicament, but seeing him so earnestly troubled, I restrained myself. Even the business consultant is at his wit's end, but that's no longer my concern.
At least, could you speak to your family about the contract, to see if anything can be done?
Kai brazenly asked, but I firmly refused. No way. Who would trust the CEO of a company who commits adultery?
It seems there's no future for it either.
Kai continued to complain about Nevaeh. But I paid him no attention, insisting it was all his own fault. Ultimately, Kai left with nothing resolved. Kai, who had always wanted a son, didn't truly cherish me or Sophia. It was like karma had caught up to him, I thought with a smirk. One day, Sophia contacted me. Our dramatic scene had become a topic on the internet, even revealing Kai and his company's details. I received thoughtful messages from those I had known during my marriage to Kai. When I tell them I'm doing well, everyone uniformly informs me of Kai's current situation. It appears that Nevaeh's son has indeed taken over the company, and its internal affairs are beyond salvageable. The household is not harmonious either. Several employees have seen Nevaeh neglecting household duties and gallivanting around, flaunting her status as the CEO's wife and causing trouble outside. Companies that had dealings with us are unanimously reconsidering their relationship with Kai's company. It might have been good timing that my connection with Kai was severed. According to Sophia, the in-laws are no longer in contact with Kai, who will likely become even more isolated in the future. It's only a matter of time before the company, his last stronghold, is gone. Meanwhile, I'm living a free and easy life. When I learned about my divorce from Kai, it turned out my daughter and her husband have assets worth about $2 million. Samuel managed and grew the assets from the sale of his company, telling me not to worry about money. What a reassuring thing to say. Currently, Samuel has transitioned to working with my family's company, striving alongside my brother to expand the business. They plan to go public soon, which means the company will grow even larger. And there's another growth to celebrate. Sophia's belly.
It's a boy.
Soon, I'll have a grandson. That has become my number one joy now. Despite the hardships, there's bound to be plenty of happiness ahead. I believe in that and live for today.